We're going to try conquer running backs today, continuing our positional preview. Be sure to check out wide receivers from yesterday's show, tight ends from the day before. But today, it is all about running backs, and that is why Denny Carter, the running back hero himself, he drinks free today because it was his birthday yesterday, which we forgot about yesterday.
And by we, I want to be clear about this, Denny. I want to be clear about this. By we really mean backup producer Pete. Backup producer Pete, who honestly, he produced yesterday, and he's just like, Denny Schmenny. Like, just so you understand that when backup producer Pete is putting together the show, Denny Carter, you are nowhere near his thoughts at any point. Hey, maybe we should try to get Lawrence in today. Hey, I want to feature Connor. Hey, I wonder what Rotopat's doing. But just he never, ever considers you, Denny, just so you know. Hey, we got to make sure Lawrence is around. Like, just so you understand. But we all, the collective three here, along with Connor Rogers, we were like, why didn't we wish Denny a happy birthday? So, again, our friend and colleague, Denny Carter.
Happy birthday, Denny.
Happy birthday,
Denny Carter.
Yes.
60 years old today.
Nah, 61.
61?
With the hair of a 16-year-old boy.
The hair of a I'm insanely jealous of it.
In the end. All right, let's get into running backs. Matthew, let's talk about strategy first, just broadly. How do you feel about zero RB, hero, anchor RB? What do you think about running backs this year?
Well, let's just sort of define that, just in case people these terms get bandied about a lot online, on Twitter, and that kind of stuff. And some people may be like, oh, sure, I know what that means, or maybe I don't. But just so you understand, if we're talking about it, this is how we're defining this well, very clearly. Zero RB is not that you don't draft any running backs. What it means is that you don't draft any running backs in the first 5 to 7 rounds. Okay? But the important thing is that if you go with this approach, obviously you have to crush a wide receiver. But you're also going to get an elite quarterback, an elite tight end. Basically, you're saying I'm going to get elite at every position, and then rounds 8, 9, 10, that kind of thing. I'm going to target cheap volume at running back, the Najee Harrises of the world, the Devin Singletaries, Brian Robinson, those type of players, along with high insurance backs, and you hope that some of them pop. That you find a Kyron Williams, that kind of stuff, and that you hope that maybe that suddenly Tank Bigsby or Jordan Mason or somebody like that pops at some point during the year, right? So that's the idea behind zero RB. Another phrase that gets thrown out a lot is hero RB or anchor RB. That's exactly what it says. Like, basically, you're drafting one high-end running back early, and then you're ignoring the position for 4 or 5 rounds. So this year, that would be like you draft McCaffrey, and then it's wide receiver. So Breece Hall, Bijan, those kind of things. For me, I wouldn't want to do I think the lowest tier I would want, I think you could do anchor RB, and we'll get into this, but I think you can do anchor RB with Derrick Henry, with Saquon, with JT, with Pacheco. I'd be a little nervous to do it with Williams and Achane based on injury history there, but that's the idea there, is that you get an elite running back and then you ignore the position for the next 4 to 6 rounds. And again, then for your RB2, you're looking sort of in that same range of those cheap volume guys that we talked about. And then the last strategy here, very quickly, is heavy RB or bully RB, sometimes people call it. And that's where you're going running back, sometimes running back there. And once you do that, so you're maybe if you're at the end of the first round, and I've seen Bijan draft sometimes, you go Bijan and then you go Barkley in the second round, right? And at the end of the third, I don't know, maybe there's a
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, that's probably too late for Etienne, but is there is there somebody
maybe like a Swift?
I feel like that's too early for Swift as well, but whatever. There's like an Achane or somebody like Achane. That would probably be too late for Achane, but whatever. Kenneth Walker, that'd be a good example, right? Kenneth Walker, Kamara, somebody towards the end of the third round, whatever. You go running back is the point, and then you basically ignore the position until the kind of late rounds, and you're taking some flyers. But basically, you're locking up your running back position at the very early point. What I would say here, just in general, and then we're going to get into specific positions, but what I would say here in general is that I wouldn't want to go into a draft saying, well, I'm definitely doing zero RB, I'm definitely doing hero RB, or I'm going RB. Again, wait to see what your draft pick is. Wait to see how the draft comes to you. I've seen some drafts on ESPN where the first 3 picks are McCaffrey, Breece, and Bijan, right? Or 3 of the first 5, or the very running back heavy on ESPN. And then I've seen other leagues, especially like on Yahoo, where Bijan or Brees will last till the end of the first round, where it's more wide receiver heavy. So again, every league is different. So I kind of want to go in the league, let the draft come to me and sort of figure it out. But what I will say here is that if you decide to, I'm going 0 RB, and that's just like great wide receiver value, great wide receiver value, great wide receiver value. And then you suddenly find yourself in round 6, and you're like, wow, I hate all the running backs in this round, and there's still some really good values at wide receiver. Too bad. You're kind of pot committed at that point. The only thing you can do, at that point you're sort of pot committed to this strategy, and you can't suddenly draft and wait wait too long. The only thing you can do there, Lawrence, is if you know your league, if you're like in a league with people that you're friends with or that you have a relationship with, and you're like, okay, you know what, I know I'm going to be able to trade. So if you're just like, oh, the value is still, I've gone 0 RB, but the value is still better at wide receiver or tight end, I'm just going to load up on that, because then what I can do is I can take my number 2 wide receiver or number 3 wide receiver and trade it for a stud running back, as opposed to reaching it, because I now have all this incredible depth at wide receiver because the value kept being there. But that only works, again, if you know you're going to be able to trade in your league. If you're in a high-stakes league or a league where you don't have great relationships or know the people, then you got to sort of stick with whatever strategy you committed to.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.